India may have been playing a rather interesting cricket match against England, and of course the second test match very finely poised, as we discussed just a little while ago. But on the other side of the Indian border in Pakistan was also taking place a sporting event, a tie, pitting India against Pakistan, which was historic in many ways because this would be the first time in 60 years that India would be traveling to Pakistan for this particular event. The event that I'm of course referring to is the Davis Cup tie between the two nations. Now, it is worth noting that going into this particular tie, there was no hope really that this would be a competitive one from an Indian standpoint. India were always expected to thrash Pakistan. They were in fact the favourites going in, and basis day one of how play has turned out, that is exactly what has in fact happened. Now, of course, keeping in mind, let's say, how it is that rankings and everything work. The top Indian singles player in this was ranked in the 300s, whereas the top Pakistan player ranked in the 400s. So as I said, this was never going to be much of a contest. That's exactly how it turned out. Day one of the tie featured two of the singles matches. Now, the first singles match pitted India's number one player who's playing in this particular tie, Ramkumar Ramanathan, up against a player that Indian fans will be very familiar with, Ehsan-ul-Haq Qureshi. Of course, Qureshi was at one point a teammate of a certain Rohan Bopanna. They used to play together on the ATP doubles tour. They were dubbed the Indo-Pak Express. But in this particular tie, Ehsan-ul-Haq Qureshi would be playing in the singles division, despite being a doubles player predominantly. Surprising decision? Sure, but he started off well enough. The first tie pitted Ramkumar Ramanathan against Ehsan-ul-Haq, and he won the first set, albeit it took him getting to a tie break to do it, but he did end up winning the first set, and he looked like he could have potentially caused an upset at that point in time. The good news is that Ramkumar then rallied to not just come back, but even win the match, because he won the second set on a tie break, so also 7-6, but the third set was the one he absolutely bossed because he ended up bageling Ehsan-ul-Haq Qureshi. Now, bagel, for those of you who don't know the term, refers to when you win a set 6-0, and that's exactly what Ramkumar did to give India a 1-0 lead in the tie. Now, of course, it's normally a 5-match tie, but if a team wins the first 3 or it wins 3 before, let's say, the 5th is done, then the tie is deemed done and dusted. And traditionally, when it comes to India in these sort of matches, you'd expect that doubles would be what rescues them. But because Pakistan are clearly, let's say, lower in the totem pole as far as the Davis Cup is concerned, getting a 1-0 lead means that their best chance of winning a game in the singles tie was squandered. And that's exactly how it proved going into the second game, which pitted N. Sriram Balaji against Akil Khan. Now, Sriram was pretty comfortable. He ended up winning the first set 7-5, and he won the second set 6-3. So it was as comprehensive, as routine, as easy a win as possible would be for India. And what it does is it puts them in a great position going into the second and final day of the tie. Why? Because now you will have 2 doubles games, and you will also have 1 reverse singles game, which means that the 2 opponents who didn't face each other will potentially be getting to face off in the third game. So could very well be very, very interesting, but I think it's safe to say that given the level of competition at play, India would perhaps be favourites to romp to an easy 3-0 win in this particular tie. Now, of course, a lot of the reasons that this tie had so much attention, of course, 1, it was India-Pakistan. 2, it also featured India travelling to Pakistan, but there was also the fact that India did try to get the tie moved to a neutral location. It has happened in the past. In 2019, there was an India-Pakistan tie in the Davis Cup, and it was moved to a neutral location of Morocco, where India ended up romping to the win. This time, they tried the same thing. The ITF, who of course organized the tournament, said, nope, nothing doing. You either travel to Pakistan or you forfeit the points. Obviously, India couldn't afford to forfeit the points, so went to Pakistan to play. But that was just the off-field distraction or the off-court distraction. On the court, you knew it would be a pretty dominant win for the Indians in this tie, and that's exactly how it's proven to be so far. You could potentially see the end of this tie very early tomorrow itself, so stay tuned for those updates. We'll bring it to you live as and when they happen. But for now, I'll take your leave. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like it, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app. If you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. For now, from my side, it's goodbye.